And later that day, we went home. And I'm so glad I've got him. He is a total hero for me. He also fixed, during our hospital stay, I was left in the ward with all the babies and mums. I wasn't moved, which was obviously hard. Like all night I was being kept awake by other babies crying, and bless her, I had a really nice woman next to me, and she was so sweet. She spoke to me like, it must have been so hard for the other mothers in the ward to have this woman with no baby. Like, I imagine they're so full of joy, and then there's this sadness in front of you, that it must have felt uncomfortable. So she was so sweet. She used to say things like, oh, I know you've not got your baby, I don't mind sharing if you want a cuddle. It was lovely. I didn't want a cuddle from anyone else's baby, I just wanted mine, but I really appreciated how sweet she was trying to be. But she was a smoker, and she did ask me to babysit when she went out for a cigarette. So I was kind of in a daze, and I always just said, yeah, that's fine. But there was one time that the baby actually cried, and as I stood up, I thought, I'm going to look mental if I pick up someone else's baby. And I was like, shit. And I remember lying over her, like rubbing her tummy, going, shh, 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 knocking on the window to the nurse saying, I've been asked to babysit. I don't mind, but I'm not stealing her. Like, what? And the nurse came running through and was like, it's okay, I'll do it. And I was like, I don't mind. I didn't want anyone to think I was mental. But yeah, this woman was really, really sweet, but being surrounded by babies eventually took its toll, and I couldn't cope, and I phoned Boris in hysterics from the bathroom floor, and he marched into the ward and up to the nurse's station and just said, get her the fuck out of there. And because it never crossed my mind that I should say, this is hard for me, can I not be here? So they did. They got me the fuck out of there, which really, it did help my mental state. So I got put in with the pregnant ladies, which was much easier. Regular hero, not just once. So that was my big tearful thing, was being stuck with the babies. And then we both did have a little cry. I think it was after about maybe 12 days, we had been told that she would be likely to be deaf and blind. And you know, when you're first going out with someone and you do all of this, would you rather have a broken leg or a broken arm and blah, blah, blah. So Boris and I had done all that, and I knew that to him, because he's a musician, that being deaf was just, to him, just the worst thing he could imagine. So I was devastated for him, because he wouldn't be able to share music with her. So I cried, and he cried because he wouldn't be able to share music with her. Yeah, that was so devastating to hear. But again, we lay down on my bed, we closed the curtains, and just held each other and just quietly sobbed. That was the only real, oh God, that sad, devastated moment. And then we kind of picked ourselves up and just decided to hold it together for her. And we did, because I know I sound really hard throughout all of this, which I wasn't. We were both in absolute turmoil. But my thinking was, if I fall apart completely and everyone has to look after me, who the fuck is going to look after her? Like, I need to be strong for her. I need to look after her. I need to be there for her. I need to make milk. I need to make decisions and listen to doctors and learn. And so that's why I was very, I don't know, I was not okay about it, but I just held it together. I had very little contact with any friends or relatives or anything. I couldn't really cope. We didn't have any visitors or anything. We had a couple later on. In the second week, I think Boris's sister came in, and I think my parents got in once, all under the strict instruction: nobody is to cry over this baby's cot, because I'm not crying and I'm not having it. I'm not watching people sobbing over her. What a hardy bitch, eh? Like, looking back, I'm like, oh, God. But kind of did what we needed to do to get through it, and everyone was really respectful and let us. So we were lucky that way. We didn't name her. Originally, we decided we would wait till everything was sorted and we got her back, and then we'd spend some time with her and name her. And we were encouraged at one point to give this baby a name, because you need to give this baby a name. As in, she might not be okay, so you need to name her something. So we really struggled. And Allissa was a name that I had suggested before we even knew she was a girl. And Boris had immediately discounted it, didn't like it. Okay. But it obviously had stuck in his head, and he said to me, "What about Allissa?" And I said, "Yeah, fine, whatever." At that point, I thought it was going to be the name on a headstone and not the name of the baby in my arms. So it didn't really matter. Anyway, I love her name, and I'm really glad that that's what we called her, because it really suits her. Yeah, I do love her name, and it is way better than the names that I had picked. Yeah, so that was how her name came about. It was really flippant and whatever, but we all love it now, and always have. As soon as that was her name, it just was her. It was perfect. So yeah, that was it. Got her home, and we had gone back to my parents' house because it was slightly closer to the hospital, and more drivers and things, so we kind of felt like if anything did happen, we could just dive in. Because the other thing that kind of struck me through all of this was, if I had got my way when she was born and gone home, she would have died, because she would have had that seizure at 7 o'clock at home, and she would have died, or been far, far, far more disabled. So again, Boris saved the day. So yeah, we went home, and we didn't tell anybody. It was actually my mum's birthday, so we rang the bell. We didn't go into the house, we rang the bell, and she answered, and we had the baby in the carrier. And it was just, it was great to just be home. And we settled down and basically sat like this for as long as we could. This is the same night. We just snuggled and cuddled and got on with it. And she took all of her bottles and eventually breastfed. And loved it. Such a snuggly, tactile baby. She's such a cuddler. Although my supply never caught up with her demand because we had been so disjointed and apart, and it was really difficult. So she always had a top up, but it was really special to get a little taste of the experience. So yeah, and she was an amazing baby. She's an amazing kid. She surprises everybody all the time. She is. I'm so proud of her. And although we were told like horrendous things, the doctor did say, I have given worse diagnoses to people who have completely proved me wrong, and I hope I'm proved wrong this time. And I think he was. I think he was, and I'm sure he'd be delighted. I don't know if he has followed or if he knows what she's up to now, or has ever, because she's been in the paper and quite a few times, and I wonder if he remembers who she is and what was said, and I don't know, but yeah, that is, I suppose, part one of Alyssa's story. And anyone who has met her knows how cruel she is, how demanding she is, how absolutely the opposite of all these things that they've said, like unresponsive and tube fed. Oh, this kid is not tube fed. She's a good eater. She has an amazing appetite, which is just thrilling for me. And she's sharp. She's ace. And so yeah, if you have any questions, I totally happily answer them. I often think I wish there was like a buddy system. Maybe they have this now at the special nursery, because when you're kind of thrown all this advice and you're just lost and you don't know what to think or where to go, I wish you could be matched with a family who are in a similar situation, but 3-4 years. That's really when I think we found our feet. She was about 3. Loads of hard work, but just, it's different, but it's wonderful as well. As much harder as things are, they are that much more rewarding. So every achievement, every laugh, every giggle, every joke means so much more, because 1, you didn't expect it, 2, you've had to work bloody hard for it, and yeah, nothing's a given, nothing's taken for granted, but wow, when she does something, it's just good girl. She's just brilliant. So yes, I need to stop rambling and gushing now. That very, very long video. I'm sorry, I'm such a storyteller. And I just we rarely have gone over this. We rarely talk about it. And when I do, it is in a very bullet point fashion. I give the facts. There's no emotion. And I kind of feel it's important because maybe there is somebody out there going through this torture at the moment, and I just want you to know that it's not all bad. It'll change your life, but now I really do feel, and I think I've said this before, my whole life, everything leading up to this was all just in preparation of being her mum. That is my purpose in this world, is to be her mum. And I try to do as good a job as I can for her, no matter how hard it is on me, because she really deserves the best. And nobody's perfect, and wow, I'm not at all, but I'll never, ever, ever stop trying, because she should have that. And she's lucky, she's got a wonderful family around her. Her dad is just amazing. Like, all without him, what if I'd believed them? What if I'd accepted what they said? Like, without his fuck you attitude, I don't know how long we'd have been in hospital. I don't know if I'd have tried to push her to have a bottle or anything like that. But as we've learned, or as I've learned, never, ever, ever underestimate her. She will always surprise you. She'll always fight. She's just so capable. So yeah, never. I don't think I've ever made that mistake again. To underestimate her.